Guys, this is a one-of-a-kind interview. This is something that I'm really excited about because I reached out to Ann Johnson. Hey, Ann Johnson, give me 5. High five, Ann.
Hi.
Awesome. This is the virtual world we live in now, so we kind of have to communicate some way.
Yeah, totally.
I'm really excited. Why I have Ann on the show today is because Ann's living the dream. At least in my mind, she's living the dream because I want to live her life. Not the Ann Johnson.
Not as easy as that.
Yeah, but the Kevin Du Toit. And I want to go from the beginning. You're from United Kingdom, am I correct?
Yeah, Birmingham.
I love it. Okay, love it. I have family there. My best friend lives in London.
Right.
Probably one of my favorite places, Bristol, Brighton and Hove. And of course, London itself. I mean, I think par excellence is your museums. They are just amazing. But let's get started because it's about Ann.
Let's do it.
And tell us your journey from coming from London and having this island lifestyle in Ella de Sol, in the Cabo Verde, in Santa Maria, being this awesome real estate agent. Give us lowdown, Ann.
Okay, well, it's pretty simple. I'm from Birmingham, by the way, not London. So I have a Brummie accent-ish. So yeah, basically got made redundant in the UK. I'd been working for the same company for 17 years. I was an office manager in a solicitor's. I thought I would be there forever. It was my forever job, you know, etc. Made redundant, sitting at home one Sunday morning, I was reading the Sunday papers, the news of the world, and there was a double spread article in the middle, and it was all about Cape Verde. Wow. It featured a couple of agents and some properties that they had for sale. Yeah. And I had a good job, so I had good bonuses. So every year we used to go lots of different places, you know, Bahamas, Barbados, Mauritius, Maldives, that type of thing.
But the English love that. The English, they love to travel. I mean,
totally, yeah.
Greece.
That was all I did was save for holidays. That's all I did. And basically, we saw Cape Verde, and I went, "Oh wow, this looks beautiful!" Like, you know, my husband Steve, and I said, "Oh, fancy going in there?" And we laughed and said, "Oh, wonder if they've got any jobs." So this was the start. So basically, I sent them an email because I wanted to look at some of their properties and whatever. So I sent them an email, and I'm not going to name names or anything, etc. And basically, they phoned me within about half an hour. The phone went, and we had a chat about property and budget. On the bottom of my email, I put.
Did you contact Cape Verde, or was this an English-based?
No, I sent the email to the Cape Verde office, and they phoned me. Yeah.
I've sent several emails to the Cape Verde. Only one person responded. You. I've been searching for years to purchase a hotel in the Cape Verde. Wow, Ann. Well done.
So
well
on
done.
the bottom of my email, I put P.S. Have you got any jobs? So just laughing, joking type thing. And about half an hour later, they phoned me and we had a chat. And basically, he ran through some properties that potentially were in my budget. And then he said, "Oh, by the way, I noticed you're looking for a job." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What do you do?" Told him what I did and whatever. And he said, "Oh, right." He said, "We might be looking for..." Oh, first of all, he said, the lawyer's office next door to us are looking for an English-speaking secretary. Okay. Well, I'd worked for a solicitor's in Birmingham for 17 years and another 10 years prior to that. So he said, "Oh, you'd be ideal." I said, "Oh, right, okay. Don't mind being a secretary all over again. Yeah, I can start at the beginning, new country, new start." So basically, anyhow, that was that. About 2 days later, they phoned me again and said, "Oh, by the way, the director's had a look at your CV and said, can you go down to London and meet him for an interview? He would like to employ you." So the director of the real estate agency.
Oh my gosh, Ann. It's like a dream. It's like a dream come true. And I mean, honestly, I'm a big believer in alignment. I mean, this sounds like a universal alignment for you. Like the galaxies coming together for you, and because that's crazy, Anne. Come on.
Well, we went down to London. My husband drove down, and we were an hour and a half late because there was an accident on the motorway. And I couldn't get through to the guy on the phone because we just had no coverage on the motorway because of all the accidents and I don't know whatever happened. So eventually got to London. I got to the hotel and I spoke to reception and they said, oh yeah, he's actually staying here. So they phoned his room and I spoke to him and I said, look, I'm so sorry, I've been involved in an accident on the motorway. I've only just got here. I said, I understand if you don't want to interview me because I'm late.
Right.
He said, no, fine, whatever. So when I had an interview, my husband went off and had a coffee, there for about an hour, went home, basically I think I got a phone call like a day later or something, and he said, oh, we want you to come over to Cape Verde. And I went, oh, right, okay. So within about 3 weeks, I was on the plane to Cape Verde, did a week on holiday as well, had an interview there, said, yeah, we'd like you to start, had a good chat and whatever. And basically that was in June. My husband went back over there for a month to find us somewhere to live. Because we had a dog, we had a 10-year-old dog, and I wanted to bring him here as well. I wasn't going to leave him. So I was having to get him all sorted because he needed about 8 weeks of injections for a private medical certificate. So yeah, I had to wait for all that. Steve come back, found somewhere to live, and by August the 17th, 18th, we were on a plane, 10 boxes of cargo, the dog, and we were gone.
So your husband's on this journey with you. You didn't do the solo. You were married at the time, and you're still married.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, and
he's gone to the pub.
I take my hat off to your husband. Honestly, just hear me out.
We've been married 20 years. So
because to have such a drastic change from 17 years of complacentness, comfort, day in, day out, everything's certain in your life. We're going to all of a sudden saying, hey.
Hang on. All right. Let the cat out.
Also, and all of a sudden saying to your husband, listen, there's an opportunity. I love that he goes with the flow. Because
we've been made redundant also. So we were both redundant at exactly the same time. Just sitting at home, like doing nothing. And I've always wanted to live abroad, always. But I thought I'd go to Spain. I never thought I'd end up in West Africa.
Yeah, there's lots of British in Spain. Oh, Spain. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Even Dubai. There's lots of lots of developers are in Dubai right now from England.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
It's because of your interesting enough, and I'll be honest with you, is every time there's the English accent, people also think that you're intelligent. So you've got one thing. It's a good thing.
I wouldn't say intelligence. I'd say more street cred.
I like that. Absolutely.
I started at the beginning and I worked my way up. It's not degree educated or anything like that. I just started at the bottom and went up.
Now, Anne, I know, but tell the audience, Ilha do Sol, the Cabo Verde are a bunch of islands off the west coast of Africa, but especially even Ilha do Sol, I mean, it's a barren piece of land. It's not tropical.
Moon.
Absolutely. So first of all, what made you and your husband want to make the move? Because I know you've traveled a lot. Have you been to Ibiza? You've been to Portugal, right? You've probably been to Greece.
Yep.
And then there's Ilha do Sol, which is this little kind of semi-flat, dry, rocky moon. What happened?
Yeah.
Like, what did you see? What did you see?
Well, when the first week that we came, I was actually, I wasn't sure that this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
It was too late, basically. It was like, we've got to give this a go. And I'm going to be completely honest and frank here. If it hadn't been for my dog, who was just nearly 10, because I knew in the first year, I wasn't sure this is what I wanted. It was hot, it was humid, it was really hard work. Long hours, and the language barrier was terrible for me because I just couldn't pick it up at all. It was really bad.
It's a slang Portuguese, it's Creole, right?
Yeah, Creole, a Brazilian Creole, but everybody speaks Portuguese. But I just can't get this the spargus. I just can't get it.
I love it.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't come naturally to me at all. So anyhow, in that first year, I was quite ill. I couldn't eat any, you know, everything I ate was coming back out one way or another, you know, and I wasn't completely hooked. I loved the weather and I loved the beaches and stuff, but it was really difficult. But if I wanted to go home, my dog had to go into quarantine for 6 months. So I stuck it out. The first year was quite difficult. Then I got a better job. So, and I learned a lot at that job, for which I'm grateful for. And because of that job, and then my husband got a good job as well. So he was doing really, really well.
And what does he do? And so you sell real estate. What does your husband do?
He was gardening. He was a gardener at the time on one of the resorts. I live on Melia Dunas, and then just across the way from me is Tortuga Beach Resort. Melia Tortuga, and he was working on there because these weren't built. This was just flat land.
Right.
None of this
flat land,
So he was doing the Tortuga had been built, so they were doing the gardens, landscaping the gardens and stuff. And he was being asked by people what to do about key holding because they weren't going into the rental scheme. They wanted to keep their properties for private use. So just for themselves or family and friends or Airbnb, that type of thing. So they said to him, like, you know, what should we do with our keys? Who should we give our keys to? And I basically approached my boss and he said he didn't really want to get into that. He was more about sales. So I basically said, well, can my husband set up a little subsidiary business himself being a key holder? Because it was only about holding keys. And then when somebody arrived, handing over the keys. So
that's amazing. That's actually almost even better than being a property manager. You know, because property management, that's a hardcore job.
That's what we're in now. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So you've evolved.
Oh no! It went boom. So anyhow, within about that same year, I sold 4 properties to 2 families in one month in the March, and then when they completed, they wanted to know what to do with their keys and stuff. So I was recommending some other agents. I had a little list of agents that I recommended because my boss didn't want to do that. So I recommended, have this little list, said, give them to so-and-so, so-and-so. And they all said to me, we don't want to. We want you to manage our properties. And I said, right, okay. And they said, yeah, why don't you put their properties on Owners Direct, TripAdvisor, and Airbnb? And they would pay me to do that. This was 8 years ago. So I said, oh, right, okay then. So I did that. And then speaking to some friends who also had properties and whatever, and they'd say, oh, well, can you look after ours? And I went, right, okay. Within, I think that was March, by October, I'd left my job and we had a little property business.
Oh, so you're independent. You don't work for a real estate brokerage.
No, we have our own business,
No wonder you got back to me so fast because I was actually contacting the brokerages there, sending emails out. You know, they've got their contact lists to their websites and so forth. And I heard nothing. I mean,
we tried to be, we called it Your Property Cape Verde because it was your one-stop property shop. So what I found was if somebody bought property, they didn't know what to do with it after that. So we'd have to give, one agent would do rentals, another agent would do cleaning.
Oh my God.
But nobody would do all of it. So I said, why don't we set up a one-stop property shop?
Absolutely.
So when somebody bought something from me, they could leave it with me to clean and manage and rent out. And that's what we did. And 160 properties later.
So, but, and how convenient is that? It's simple, honestly, and it's not rocket science what you've created. It's simple. It's simple,
but you took the initiative. That people needed.
Right, but you took the initiative because that's kind of silly, going through all these other avenues and then trying to manage those logistics. It gets overwhelming. Where with you, it's just one stop. Wow, and that's 8 years ago, right? So 8 years later, I love it. Property management company, I love it. And I mean, is there any plans to go back, or are you set there now? You're living the island lifestyle, and you're loving the sun, and the people are amazing. Because I was there till I was 5 years old. My dad worked for the airline, so I was there till I was 5. That's my first language actually, was the Creole, that slang Portuguese, the Brazilian Portuguese. And at that time, we stayed at the Hotel Morabeza. Was the only hotel there at that time. We're going back 40 years.
Ojidagwa was probably here as well because they've been here about the same time.
There was only one at that time, but this one I was 5. This is 40 years ago. I was 5 years old. But then I do remember coming back frequently. I'd come come stay at Genevieve and Sophia's place at the hotel. And then next door was another big kind of chalet hotel open up where a lot of kite surfers would stay. There were these beach.
Belo Horizonte and the Nova Horizonte.
With the green roofs, green roofs, I believe.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Then they're still here.
Then after that, it's just over the past 4 decades, it's just. I mean, I cannot believe because we take quad bikes. I'd ride with George, Sophie's dad, George. I think his name was George, if I remember. I believe it was George. I'm trying to go back now in my memory, and you take me on a quad bike all around. If I'm looking at from Hotel Morabeza to the right, there were no hotels, and we go ride quad bikes all along there. Now it's just hotels. If I do a bird's eye view, I just see hotels. What's the future for
a lot of development?
Yeah. What's the future looking like? And because there's a lot of hotel development, but I also believe that people need the support as well. Infrastructure, that's very important with, sewer and waters, electric, power, that kind of a thing. What does that look like for the island and coming from your perspective?
Well, if you think about when I came here, which was only 13 years ago, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, where I'm sitting now did not exist.
Yeah.
Tortuga wasn't here. Lana wasn't here.
Can you show us your backyard? Can you show us your backyard?
Do you want to have another look? Yeah, there we go. Can you see it?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, there's a couple of cats out there somewhere as well. Can you see that? Okay.
That's a big that's a big backyard.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is that owned or is that rent? Is that ownership?
No, we're renting it, but we have done a deal to buy it. Excellent. But obviously with COVID, it's sort of halted it a little bit. So, but we are planning to buy. We've had it all decorated. We've bought a new sofa. We've had some extensions done on the kitchen and stuff. So we are planning to buy it, but I think we might have been set back maybe a couple of years because of COVID now. But the plan is to buy it.
Let's change everything. So last year, I have a 9 units single family development here that I was developing. We're supposed to start breaking ground July this year.
Yeah.
So in February, we had everything ready. We had the permits. We're fully entitled. We were ready. It would take 2 weeks to pull permits to literally put a shovel in the ground. That was in February. March happens. It shut us down. So for about 3 months, me and the developer just kind of, we're waiting in uncertainty. Now things are starting to open up. So now we're doing some drilling 85 foot deep on another 28 acres that I'm developing with a hotel, an assisted living and a senior community and 5-acre recreational park. Finally, but for about 3 months from March, April, May, it was standstill. The dead still in the water. Yeah.
No, the same here. There's a few developments at the moment, and they've just come to a standstill. There's another, the Radisson Blue, I think, are just about to put up their new fences. There's another couple of hotels as well. The Rio are also building another hotel next to their existing hotel.
And I see Paton many years ago. He went independent, started his own hotel. He took over the old tuna
factory. Right, the old Jadagua. Yeah, that's a great hotel. What a location!
Really?
Absolutely. He's just built a fantastic swimming pool. Oh my God, it's amazing.
And when I was a child, we would go play in the tuna fish factory.
Porto Antigo 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a. I mean, because we also go buy tuna there. My dad would go get tuna for us because we get canned there. Yeah. And I remember being inside the tuna factory, and there was just like a one-man show. It was a factory, but it was very a one guy was kind of running it. It was just amazing, and so that's why I've kept my eye out. And what's happening with COVID for you guys on Soul Island?
We've been shut since the 1st of April, so we've had no tourism, no income. The island's had no income whatsoever from tourism since the 1st of April. We're actually awaiting an announcement any day now. Allegedly, they're going to open the borders. We don't know because we keep hearing something one day, then we hear something different the next day. We really don't know. But I mean, all the staff here are on what we call like an automatic layoff period. So they've done 3 months and now they've done another 3 months. So it's the government are helping to pay and
thank God,
because employees are helping to pay.
Right.
Yeah.
The locals there must, because here, I mean, it's crippled us. Over 30 million unemployed. You can't even get your hair cut. You can't even go get your nails done. Everything's eating outside. It's very sad. And I mean, they're trying to find a solution anyway. And for you and Illa de Sol, do you see more development, or is that kind of slowed down? Is there a new economy there? Is there any Asian influence, like in Africa right now? It's like almost a third Asian, or is it very European?
We have a lot of Chinese development here. It's very popular with the Chinese. They've built a lot of the municipal buildings. They built the new school that we've got in town. There's a big new hospital now, opened the other week, but it's not yet open to the public to use. But they had to get it all ready because obviously it's all going to be part of the COVID restructure when we do open. They've turned the Sobrado Hotel into a COVID centre. So if they do, whenever they do reopen, if somebody gets ill, they'll be taken to there. Okay. So they've had lots of funding from various countries throughout the world, including America, all to go towards, like, obviously infrastructure and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, they've done the new pedestrian walkway in town, which I love it.
Yeah.
Now they're doing the next one. Yeah.
And what about
they're doing another one behind? So.
Oh, very nice. And those are walkways. It's a walkway, right? You cannot drive. You cannot drive. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, it's a proper promenade with all the bars and the shops and restaurants on there. But it's a bit empty at the moment because we have no tourists. But you know, when we have tourists, it's really busy, and it's great. All the bars have got their music on. You can sit outside and have a drink and something to eat, and But no, I mean, the beaches are shut. We haven't been able to go to the beach. It's like they're open 6 o'clock till 10 a.m. in the morning, which is awful because it's roasting here. It's like 34, 35 degrees, and the locals cannot go to the beach. I mean, they live for the beach and the ocean.
And they can't go to the beach, Anne? So they...
After 10 o'clock, yeah. So they're in their houses or they're sitting on the streets and stuff. And I mean, I really feel for them.
Yeah, I do, because...
The beach is their life.
Right, at least, we can go to the beach because it's our thing. Oh, well, now we can. We couldn't for about 4 months, or almost 6 months, but now we can. But and that's why I live by the beach, is because I love the beach. That's very sad. And the locals don't have much as it is anyway. So you would think at least the beach would kind of be an escape. It's out in the open. And with the water and also power, are there proper facilities now, or is that still part of the infrastructure?
I mean, we have a solar panel plant. We have quite a big one now, just not far from here, a few hundred meters that way. Yeah. But we still have power cuts. We've had 3 tropical storms recently, and every time we have a storm, it knocks the power out. So, I mean, where we live, we have a generator. Some of the bars and restaurants and shops obviously have generators. The big supermarket has a generator. Yes. But I mean, all the hotels are shut anyway. So, if you're going to have a power cut, have it now. But when it's in town and the locals can't even go to the beach, it's not.
Wow. And is Illa de Sol friendly with Airbnb and Verbo, VRBO? Do you know?
All my properties are on Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, Home and Away, TripAdvisor. So,
have you heard of Verbo, vacation rental?
VRBO, yeah.
Okay, excellent, very nice. Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm just asking because I know what we have. Yeah, sometimes what else do you find is gonna for tourism, because that's the main commerce for Illa de Sol. Besides you've got the salt pans, but they really are something else. I want to ask you, a friend of mine just recently passed away, George. Do you remember George by any chance? Okay,
yes, I do know George. I know him very well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a youngster growing up at the Hotel Morabeza and then also coming to visit, my dad, he got another contract to come back when I was about 7 years old or 9 years old, and we lived in what they called at that time Pretoria, out by Espargo. So we had a small little house out there because my dad worked for the airlines. Is that still around, or is that very developed now and so forth? Do they still?
No, there is. I mean, it's actually called the Shanty Town now. So I don't know the correct name or how to say it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really good.
I think South Africa anyways built these little kind of little pad homes there. Say 2 or 3 bedroom homes back in the day. I'm going back 35 years ago, 30 years ago.
No, there's a lot of locals that own their own properties now. So the government let them buy them and that kind of thing. But yeah, there is still an element of third world, But there's lots of charities that help out and take food and clothes up there. And when we had tourism, a lot of the island tours will go to the shanty town. and they will drop off like clothes and food.
Okay,
and
very nice.
money and kids, things for the kids and stuff. So, but obviously at the moment it's very difficult, but there are a lot of charities about at the moment doing some good work with the,
Very nice.
with the local people.
And your water, where's the water source coming from, Anne, for Ile de Sol?
It's desalinated. So
Okay.
there's a water plant in Asparagus. So
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. Because I remember when I was young, they had to bring it in. I remember waiting, weeks because we didn't have any water. And then,
it just all turns around, and it's all desalinated.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There are plans. There was last year, I believe, there was a Spanish water company here, and they were doing lots of work on the new water treatment plant. But I don't know how far that's gone now because of COVID. So, but there was a lot of Spanish here working on that project.
And me being in sales and being in development, and always having a fascination for Ile de Sol because it's kind of my second home. Being born in South Africa, but really I have a passion for Ile de Sol. To get into construction and into development, is there residency involved? What are the logistics of accomplishing something to that effect?
No, I don't think the big development companies here necessarily are residents. It's more about what you can offer by way of agreement, if you see what I mean. You've got to be able to give something back to the country in order to have the contract.
Right.
So it's more about a little bit of give and take. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the companies here are, there's a Portuguese company, I think the Spanish company, obviously there's some Cape Verdean contracts as well.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think most of the development here is tied up between these three companies, because they're the only ones with the capabilities of actually building the kind of projects that are needed here.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And also maybe the scale, because here in Los Angeles,
they're used to it. Yeah.
Right. I get bids for our build-ups here, to the vertical cost, and I mean, it's staggering the amount of money that you spend on even 9 homes or a 100-room hotel is just, it's a whole nother ball game. Because I come from Humble. I came from a farm in South Africa. Coming here now, I look at the budgets here, and even when I worked in Hollywood, I remember seeing a Hollywood budget. It was Steven Spielberg's movie AI that I worked on in post-production. I remember just the CG work for the computer graphics was $51 million. It started out at $49 million. And Steven Spielberg is very, very tight with his money. It spent over $2 million, which was a big deal. He wasn't happy. But $51 million just to CG works created. But anyway, and I want to do this. And is it okay if I post your details in the description box below if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even for some of your experience, advice of growing in the business, even starting a company in another country, even your property management skills when it comes to managing the keys and so forth, and the Airbnb. Yeah. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
No problem. Yeah, no problem at all. So, yeah, cool.
And you've been amazing. I'm so glad I get to see you face to face. I can't wait for the borders to open up and we can really start enjoying things.
Absolutely. So, can I just say as well, for anybody in America or anything that's ever interested in Cape Verde, we do have Boston to Praia and Washington to Praia. We did have Boston and Washington direct to sell because we were actually going to Washington on holiday this year for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And we were going to do a little tour around New York, Washington, Boston, but cancelled. But you can get direct 6.5 hours, America to
South. Oh, love it. Thank you, Anne. And also, if you want to reach out to Anne, even for English connections, because Anne comes from there, but also, I think if you want the island style that you're looking for, and Cape Verde is becoming popular because Madonna just did an album with some of the locals.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's huge. It's starting to get the word's getting out, and and it's only going to get, in a sense, worse for a good reason. I mean, it's going to get more building and development and so for infrastructure, which is, it helps. It's not going to be a small little one-man island or few-man island. And thank you for your time, guys. Anne Johnson, reach out to her. She's awesome over in Cabo Verde, Ile de Sol. Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations, Anne, on building your empire, your little mini empire. Well done on that.
My little empire, our little empire, not just mine.
I love the tan. I love the lifestyle. I'm not jealous, but I'm happy for you because that's what I want, and I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, Anne.
Okay, thank you. Been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Ciao. Bye.